see me making some weird faces. Okay, basement and then crowbar to the door.
I normally don't even look at the video, but now I'm just gonna look at the video.
You just watch the
to see
video.
the faces.
Did I break through the wall with the crowbar? Yes. With a heave, I swung the crowbar at the wall. I smashed a large hole enough to slip through. Okay, that's creepy. As I stepped through the broken wall, my breath caught in my throat. This was it. Was Rachel down here? Why does he know this was it? Is there a smell? There has to be. Don't look. Oh, I think that's what the other one said. Don't look.
Probably.
This is some Illuminati shit. Oh, great. Don't look. She in a... Oh no. Is this Rachel? Crumpled up in the corner. Filthy looking pile of rags had been dumped in the corner. The stench of them was awful and made my eyes water. I was terrified to even touch the pile to see what lay within, but I knew I had to. I had come this far. After all this searching, after all I'd seen, when I looked within the rags, did I finally find my Rachel? That makes it sound like... What if I said no? Is this just did I search the rags? Or was this me changing the outcome of the story?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Don't show me anything gross.
Just pixels.
Oh no. My hands trembled as I pulled back the layers of cloth. There at the center in the dirt and mass was my beloved, my Rachel. Her arms were bruised all over and slashed repeatedly. Her clothes were ripped and torn, and even though all that sickening blood, it was obvious she had been stabbed to death. The knife I had carried all this way suddenly seemed like a poison. What had happened, Rachel? Who did this to you? I thought about all I had seen and wondered if any of it could help me figure out who had done this. And when I couldn't stay there any longer, I stepped away on shaky legs and made my way back upstairs. Reluctantly, exhausted from my journey, I could no longer resist the urge to close my eyes. Really? You find a dead body and you just go to sleep? You don't, call the cops, you do nothing?
Well, finding dead bodies is exhausting. Don't you know this?
Grim discovery. Maybe I would use some of Rachel's travel books and find some place to go. Is this him knowing, I have to leave. I have to get out of here. No matter what, I needed some kind of escape. You're running from the crime, man. It was my wallet with its contents intact. Either I dropped that stuff or somebody else did. Maybe I was sleepwalking again, or maybe somebody stole it from me. Norman's store, that forest, the water tower, was I at those places before? I'm keeping to my promise. I didn't see how it could have happened any other way. I must have been the one to lose my wallet and its contents. But what does that mean? It means you're the murderer. There, that was decided. I just fucking hate those doors, I swear to God. This was the old photo of that other man and his wife, I assumed. I found it in that house. I recalled those faded remains I had found deep underneath his house. What had he done there? Well, what did I think? Was that man involved in this whole mess somehow? Okay. Yes. Definitely those tunnels, the odd tools in his house, and the remains of his wife. He wasn't innocent, that's for sure. Okay. But who killed him? Within the few broken pieces that remained in the mirror, I could see my face had grown pale and weak. I couldn't bear to look again. It was like I didn't actually expect a reflection. I felt empty and drained. Perhaps I would never know how that mirror came to be broken. Was it by Rachel's silent, or by Rachel herself? The thought lingered and would haunt me forever. I think these just go to my computer and stuff. It seems like stuff's saying different things, so... It was the keycard I found in the factory, the one that allowed me to slip through that door. It seemed to me that it was probably Norman's, but if that was true, what was he doing back at the plant? Did I think Norman was going back to the factory? It's like... It's at these ones that I'm like, well, I really want to give it, an actual answer.
But you made a promise.
I don't even think Norman was going back to the factory anyway. Norman was at his place. Norman was ready to leave with Rachel.
Yeah, he was watching TV.
Yeah, Norman was chilling on his own and you straight up shot him in the face. Okay, it must have been him. He must have been using the locker room. I had made up my mind. Yeah, it doesn't let you change your decisions. The laptop had finally run out of power. Aw, it died. Mine can't hold a charge anymore. It dies in 5 minutes if it's not plugged in.
Oh, jeez.
It's 5 years old. It's a trooper. The reflection of that grimy glass was only a shadow, a whisper. Tub. I still love the old-time charm of that claw-footed bathtub that seemed like cold comfort. Rachel loved this part of the house. The bathroom? Quiet in that room unnerved me terribly. Oh, whoops. Okay, guess we're going downstairs. I just like want to get out of here. This is so fucking... Let's go this way. Oh, is this an entryway? My old office safe sat on the floor. I used to keep tax records and other important documents in it. It used a digital passcode lock, but it didn't have the code. Maybe I'd left it somewhere. Oh cool, more shit to find. I leafed through the notebook and had taken the course. Names that I'd written down: Heather, Olivia, Ashley, Cheryl, and I recalled the names I saw scratched out on the old desk deep within those musty tunnels. Was the man in that house really up to something? Was he the one responsible for Rachel's murder, but I found him dead? Did he suicide? I don't remember the first body we found. Okay, so we came from
I
upstairs.
think the first body was like stabbed to death.
I think a lot of them were stabbed, though. There's a letter I had taken from the post box. Rachel, were you really having an affair with Norman? This is obvious, yes. But why I didn't think things were that bad. In the letter, Rachel seemed concerned. But nobody thinks they're that bad to get cheated on, though. Like, nobody thinks it until they've been cheated on. She almost seems worried of what Norman might do. Did he do that to Rachel? I was sure of it. She wanted to end their affair, and that bastard, he killed her for it. A lot of it made sense. Norman was clearly seeing Rachel a lot, so he had plenty of time to plan it out. He knew where we lived, obviously. Is that why Rachel looked so scared when I came home that day? What had happened to me? Did Norman knock me out or something?
You roofied him?
Yeah, I was roofied. I still had no idea what was on that tape I found in the garbage. If only I'd found a way to play it on TV. From now on, I'd have no one to get angry with me for stupid things like buying this TV. Really? Just thinking about things like that made me sick with grief. The old VCR had long since broken down and never bothered to replace it. I assume there's only like 2 dialogue things for everything. Yeah. I'm sure there's like different ones though. Okay. So I think we just got downstairs now. Seemed like I had seen all there was. Maybe I thought it was ready to go back into the... Why? So you went, you took a nap, and now you want to go back. Maybe there wouldn't be anything for me to find, but I had to take a last look. Why? Why would you forget this shit? If I was guilty, I could take this to a warm, safe place and do something about it. Did I pick up the knife? If I was guilty, I took the knife and kept it firmly in my hand. Now that I stood there, I realized I couldn't go back into that room again. I had already seen too much. Really? You just told me? Whatever. Now I have a knife. Now I have a knife.
That's just weird.
That's the front door, I think.
I think the only way to watch that VHS tape is in that one building you left without checking everything else. Like you had to go into like one of the security rooms or something.
Oh, great, probably.
Yeah.
The mail still sat there, heaped on the floor. How long had Rachel been lying in the basement? I knew I needed to escape that nightmare. Dude, you live here though. Like it can't have been longer than a day. But what about the knife I still carried? Unless you were out for a long time. I wondered even if I left, would it really be over? So did I leave that house forever? I guess I have to. Living in this town hadn't been easy. The plant had helped in some way to stay grounded. Kept me in line, gave me something to do, and helped me get away from my past. When the factory closed, everything changed. I guess that was when I had started sleepwalking, disappearing for hours at a time. This dude. I had MRIs and piles of doctor reports, but nothing seemed to help, not even drinking. But I swear I had tried to give it up. I know it. The sleepwalking never really went away, though. But I know Rachel had tried. I know she had tried to be there for me, even when everything was falling apart. That night had unearthed terrible truths, but I knew it was a final act of a long-standing horror I've been living. Waking up in that house tonight was the final cruelty. I wish I had remained unconscious in that room forever. It was obvious to me that the man I had found in that house had something to do with all this. Could he have killed Rachel? It started to seem that there were too many things I had seen to think otherwise. Now that I thought of it, those sewers were a terrible mystery. What had happened there? I was lucky my wife got the hiccups to even find my way out of there. But I never did find out what was on that tape that I now kept, what might have shown me. I'd found the contents of my wallet scattered through town. Why the hell had I been out there? Had my sleepwalk and gone to some new extreme that I've like left all my belongings everywhere. I thought that I couldn't account for my whereabouts, but knew I had been to that forest and even Norman's place. Well, it was terrifying. I didn't know what that meant, but at least I had recovered my things. Hopefully, I thought that would cover my tracks, so I wouldn't be blamed for all that. Yep, you could totally leave your shit behind. Deep within those woods, though, was where things became truly awful. Finding that notebook only made things worse. Rachel's name had been on that list, so what terrible plot was she okay, that's the only clue that it might not have been him, was that Rachel was on this list, and if it was just about Rachel and Norman, then it would have just been that.
Like maybe he was framed. Or something like that.
I don't, it's very convenient that there was already troubles in this family.
Yeah.
There was a similar list of names on that desk back in those tunnels. What was the connection? It was clear at least that Norman had been going back to the old plant. Maybe he was the one who had boarded up that locker room, who had been drinking up there in that secret hiding place. So had he killed that guard then? He must have. Maybe he was found out or the guard had caught him on patrol. Damn it, Norman. Why? After the factory, I thought I might find some solace if I could just get to Norman's store, but I found there were more horrors and more questions. Now that I really consider it, that's when I should have seen it coming. Norman, you were dead. It was damn hard to feel bad about that. It was clear you and Rachel were more than just friends, but obviously whatever had been going on had gone badly, so why did you kill her? Did she want out of whatever you two were getting into? Were you responsible for the other murders and of those other horrible things that would have gone... You know what, and also another thing is, like, the letter that Rachel wrote to Norman sounds like she was sort of afraid of Norman. Like, she sounded like she was cutting it off for her own safety.
Yeah.
Were you responsible? Had gone. I would find no peace, that much was certain, but this way I didn't have to look you in the eye or sit through some kind of trial and wonder what was going through your head. When I had marched through the rain towards home, I desperately clung to the hope that this would end. And I guess in a way it did, and how could I have known how hopeless it all was? I had started to feel as disoriented as when I sleepwalked. Sleptwalked? To think of it now. Coming through the back door and into the kitchen should have tipped me off that something was horribly wrong. There was no sound of television, radio, even the air was still. But seeing Rachel there lying ruined and discarded in the basement, that was a horror I could never have imagined. That other man I had found was involved in all of this somehow, I knew it. But it was Norman, that traitor son of a bitch, who had done the deed. Is that the first curse word you've seen?
He said bastard.
Yeah, he said bastard, but whatever was going on, I've cursed more. Like, whatever was going on, he was the one who took Rachel away from me. I hated him for it more than I could possibly express, but that offered no strength, no solace. Rachel was gone now, and I was too forever. As I swung open the door and stepped out into the air, I caught the scent of wet grass and fog. Rachel, my beautiful wife. What's that sound?
It's bats.
Just the thought of her again, cold and inert, shook me from head to toe. Stop making that fucking gross noise. What would I do now? Who could I turn to? It would only be a matter of time before the police got involved, before the neighbors knew. The front lawn was soft and giving beneath my feet. And I couldn't shake the urge that I shouldn't stand there, but rather that I should run. What? Okay. Okay. I feel like... I feel mad because I feel like I need more answers than that. But at the same time, it's it's a game you have to play through more than once, I feel.
Yeah, I got a different ending.
You got a different one? What happened in yours?
Something about him, like, it made it sound like he was in denial that he wasn't the killer, but he actually was the killer.
He was in denial of it.
Yeah, like, it's like
that, to my wife Nancy, watch your back.
Oh my god.
The end. Oh my god. You know what, okay, like, my inner, it, like, screams that, yeah, he was the killer, like, he has to have been him. But, like, it could have been other shit. Like, why would he kill this random dude in his house?
Maybe just didn't like his face.
That was good, though. Those are fun games. Those fucking. Oh, turn the light on. I need to pee.